Hey everybody, and welcome back to Bearcat Update. Today, I'll be updating you on how the seasons are looking for our fall sports. From the Bearcats' dominant pink week to sit-downs with some excellent athletes. We've got a lot to cover, so let's get right into it. Both the men's and women's cross-country teams are ranked in the USTFCCCA National Coaches Poll, with the men's cross-country team at number 7 in the nation and the women's team coming at number 23. In the Central Region rankings, both teams remained in their respective spots, with the men at number 1 and the women at number 4. The Bearcats shift their focus towards the upcoming MIAA Championship, where they both finished in the top 5 last year. The meet will be held in Pittsburgh, Kansas on October 25th. The women's soccer team earned its 7th shutout of the season and 5th win in 6 matches, with a 2-0 home victory over Fort Hays State. The Bearcats improved 3 spots to number 21 in this week's United Soccer Coaches Top 25 rankings, and brought their season record to 8-3 overall and 5-1 in MIAA play. Goalkeeper Lily Ellis was dominant, recording 10 saves in her 7th shutout of the year and 34th career clean sheet. Freshman Addie Armstrong scored her first career goal in the 53rd minute, assisted by Julia Kocher. McKenna West sealed the win with a goal in the 76th minute off an assist from Abby Overbank. The Bearcats return to action Sunday at 1 p.m. at home against Nebraska-Kearney. The volleyball team snapped an 8-match losing streak this pink out weekend with back-to-back 3-0 sweeps over Newman and Pittsburgh State, improving to 8-10 overall and 2-7 in MIAA play. Against Newman, the Bearcats reached a season-high .422 hitting percentage. Cassidy Mowinkle dominated on both offense and defense with 13 kills and 8 digs, while Ella Caffrey supported the offensive attack, leading the team with 34 assists. In the sweep of Pittsburgh State, Gabrielle Carter led the offensive attack with 10 kills and a .471 hitting percentage. Caffrey added 37 assists and 8 digs, while Karsen VanScoy recorded a team-high 19 digs and her 18th consecutive double-digit performance. Northwest looks to build off their momentum and get revenge against Missouri Western at home on Friday. For more on volleyball, our crew member Gabe Porter sits down with senior Karsen VanScoy.
I sat down with senior Karsen VanScoy and recapped her years of volleyball and what it all means to her as she nears her graduation.
I started playing volleyball because of my family. It was always a passion of ours to be athletes. My family, mom and dad both grew up as athletes in a bunch of different sports, a bunch of different types of sports.
Karsen has played volleyball ever since she was a little girl. Karsen discusses how playing with her sister has influenced her throughout her career and helped her become the player she is today.
My sister then got started in volleyball around the same age I did, which really inspired me to get started. She is 3 years older than me, and whatever she wanted to do, what I wanted to do, she was my biggest role model growing up.
While there was a significant age difference between the two, Karsen continued to look up to her sister as they played through high school.
We got to play together the whole entire year, which holds a lot of memories. It was really special for us. So yes, we did get to compete, but also we got to support each other and just love on each other for that 1 year. It was the only year we've ever played together. So
Karsen excelled in her 4 years at Waverly, earning over 1,000 digs and winning districts, but that wasn't the end of the road as she started looking into playing college volleyball.
I wanted to go somewhere that I was going to have an impact, I was going to be noticed, and that I was going to be comfortable. I grew up in a really small town, and so Maryville was kind of home in a sense. It's very, very similar to my hometown, and that was one thing that drew me here.
Earning MIAA academic honor roll the last 2 years, as well as a career high of 560 digs and 46.5 total points, VanScoy has made a name for herself over her last 4 years and reflects on the legacy she wants to leave behind.
I just wanted to be a good role model. I want to inspire them to get better each and every day. I don't always just want to inspire them as a volleyball player. I want to inspire them as a person. And I hope over the past few years I've been able to do that, showing them how to be positive in tough situations, how to persevere, I feel like it's a good one. Overcoming challenges, like I mentioned earlier, is always huge. But ultimately, I feel like I'm a pretty positive and happy person all the time. And so I want that to be what people remember me for, is that positive vibe.
For Bearcat Update, this is Gabe Porter.
That's it.
Go
There
Cats.
You go. You nailed it. Thank you. The football team extended its win streak to 6 games, crushing Fort Hays State 52-3 with a season-high 437 rushing yards and 580 total yards. Quarterback Zachariah Owens had a stellar dual-threat performance, throwing for 63 yards and rushing for 164 and 2 touchdowns. Quincy Torrey added 114 yards on the ground, including a touchdown behind a dominant offensive line that allowed 0 sacks. Defensively, the Bearcats held FHSU to less than 140 yards and just 3 points. Now at 6-1 overall and 5-0 in MIAA play, Northwest looks ahead to their homecoming matchup against Nebraska-Kearney on October 25th. When we come back, Olivia and Wiley will join the show and bring us more on the football team in another edition of Weekend Sports Report. We'll be right back.
Unlike other organizations on and around campus, here, the students do it all.
KNWT is a student-run and student-produced television station.
To support this content, you can go to our YouTube channel at KNWT Channel 8.
And watch the latest shows or even enjoy blasts from the past.
What's up, you guys, and welcome to a brand new season of Nerd Central. What's up, Corby?
What, you didn't get the memo?
No.
New season, which means new uploads, new crew, new host.
What? No, I didn't get that.
Get on out of here. Now that he's gone, let's bring in the crew.
Whoa!
Hey, settle down, everyone. We're gonna make sure this is a great season for the folks at home, because you're watching
Nerd Central.
Welcome back to Weekend Sports Report. I'm your host, Olivia Wallace, joined as always, Wiley Ray. Let's get right into it. Cue the intro. Wiley, the Bearcats are currently on a hot streak right now, currently 5-0 in MIAA play. They're currently 6-1. Just talk about that big win yesterday against Fort Hays State.
Yeah, you know, Olivia, let's go back a little bit early on in the season. The Bearcats lost on the road in the first game of the year, first game in the Coach Mack era to Minnesota State Mankato. And now as you look at that loss, it is looking more in favor for the Bearcats. And really, I mean, you look at that loss, and right now Minnesota State sitting top 15 in Division II. That loss is helping the resume for the Bearcats because really they didn't play bad. There were some late starts on offense, some maybe late starts on defense too, and penalties really plagued the Bearcats in that one. But now the Bearcats, right now, like you said, fire red hot, 6-0 since 5-0 in MIAA play. And if you look at this Fort Hays State game, I mean, 437 rushing yards, and not including the playoffs, just regular season play, that has been the most rushing yards they've had since 2019. And that really is something to see. I love the ground game we're seeing with the Bearcats. And when you have people like Zachariah Owens, who went 164 yards and 2 touchdowns, and then Quincy Torrey, 117 yards and a touchdown, it really helps the Bearcats offense because if the ground game's working and the defense finds a way to stop it, then that air attack works just as well.
You mentioned the offense. That offense is not afraid to run. They booked it down the field multiple times last week. We'll see it when we review the plays. But just talk about that Fort Hays matchup. I mean, we held them to only 3 points, and we scored 52 on our end. Just talk about that big win.
Yeah, you know, one of the biggest things that stick out to me, statistics, there's 2 things actually. 5 for 5 in the red zone. A lot of teams, you know, can go 1 for 1 or 2 for 2 or 3 for 3. But the Bearcats were 100% 5 for 5 from within 20 yards, which a lot of teams, you look at that and go, well, they should be able to score in the red zone anytime they have a chance. Well, when you're playing a very blitz-heavy defense like Fort Hays State, you're going to have opportunities where, you know, you might be able to break through the defensive line. You might be able to, like I said, go to that air attack. But the Bearcats were able to find ways to make big plays happen within the red zone, but also 36 minutes of possession for the Bearcats. And that really has been the biggest thing for Northwest, is they've been able to eat up the clock, but they've also been able to put a lot of points on the board.
Yeah, we'll see all of that 35 minutes of play when we review the plays. For more on the upcoming homecoming match, we're going to throw it to Jackson Phelps to give us the Bearcat breakdown.
Welcome back to another edition of Bearcat Breakdown, and this week we'll be taking a dive into next week's homecoming game against Nebraska-Kearney. Looking back on Northwest's first homecoming game back on October 10th, 1924, where they defeated the now Division I member in Southeast Missouri 16-0. Since 1946, Northwest possesses a 48-27-1 overall record on homecoming games, and some of the notable streaks include their longest winning streak of 12 games between the years of 2002 and 2013. Last year's homecoming matchup was against UCM, where the Bearcats fell 35-30, and that was the first time the Bearcats lost back-to-back homecoming games since the 93 and 94 seasons. The Bearcats are set to face the Nebraska-Kearney Lopers in this year's homecoming match. Last year, the Bearcats fell to the Lopers 21-14. The Bearcats have faced the Lopers twice in homecoming games, in 2018 and in 2021, where the Bearcats won both of those games. The Lopers offense is led by redshirt junior Darren Bryden, and so far this season he has thrown for over 800 yards and 5 touchdowns. Another name to watch for is receiver Jayden Jude, and he has over 300 yards receiving and 4 touchdowns. The Bearcat offense has been led by redshirt freshman quarterback Zechariah Owens, where he leads the team in rushing with over 300 yards and 7 touchdowns, along with 500 yards passing and 5 touchdowns. Owens also grabbed an MIAA Offensive Player of the Week 2 weeks ago. Along with the team's leader in receiving is senior Luke Matthews with over 200 yards receiving and 4 touchdowns, with 2 coming against UCM 2 weeks ago. The Lopers defense is led by graduate student CJ Cool, where he leads the team in tackles with 42 and 1 forced fumble. The Lopers have also been led in the secondary by Eve Current, where he has 37 tackles, 4 interceptions, and 3 pass breakups. The Bearcat defense ranks second in the MIAA and is led by senior Carter Edwards, as he leads the team in tackles with 45 and 6 tackles for loss, along with 2 forced fumbles. The Cats defense is also led by senior linebacker Ben Innes, where he is third on the team in tackles with 31, along with 4.5 tackles for loss and 1 pass breakup. This year's homecoming match is another great game the Bearcats can look forward to. With how the season has been going and how Coach McMenamin has been keeping the energy up, I'm going to be taking the Bearcats to take this year's homecoming matchup. The Lopers are missing last year's All-MIAA first-team member in Isaiah Harris, and that has been hurting them so far, and the Bearcats have a great opportunity to get a revenge on last year's homecoming loss. I'm Jackson Phelps, and this has been your Bearcat Breakdown.
It's time once again for my favorite segment here on Weekend Sports Report. It is Rays, Plays, and Highlights, and today we got an offensive-heavy recap for the Bearcats' dominant 52-3 win over Fort Hays State. And without further ado, let's jump into our first play. And this one of 2 touchdowns by Zechariah Owens, and like I mentioned, Olivia, 164 yards. And now we talked about how Coach Mack designs plays for his offense and specific players, and a lot of people are going to go, oh, it was designed for Zechariah. It was pretty easy. Wrong. This one actually was a broken play. I talked about earlier this Fort Hays State defense and how they're very blitz heavy, and I'll show you why I say that here on this play. So if we go through this, and I want you to stop right here. This one, you look at how this play is going. This one is supposed to be a pass play. Zechariah is looking. He's scanning the field right to left. Obviously he's probably trying to find a slip here from his running back. But one thing I want to know is you have one matchup here. You have another right off screen right here. Then you have one here, you have another here, and then there's a defender who's, just off the screen, but he's making his way around. And so this right here is supposed to be a double team, and then he's supposed to pick up the extra blitzer. You got your running back coming up. He's sitting here doing a slip block where it's like, hey, I'm going to survey the defense. If I need to jump outside for a pass play, I can. But if I need to block, I also can do that. So Zechariah Owens does a good job, and this is why, he was the MIAA Player of the Week last week, and he had 164 yards and 2 big plays. And if we watch this one play out, you see it, because he sits there, he surveys the defense, he goes, oh, the play's broken, I got to make something happen. And then he runs like the wind, call him bullseye, and finds himself for one of 2 touchdowns. And if you go into the second one here, you'll see a play that really was more designed for Zechariah. You look at the difference between these 2 quarterbacks, and a lot of people go, why are you running a 2-quarterback offense? A lot of people hate it. If you're a starting quarterback, you hate it. If you're a second-string quarterback, you love it. And especially if you're Zechariah Owens, he's got the speed. I mean, he's Brees Lightning right here. You just look at this, he goes. And this play, like I said, is designed for him. And you go, now, how do you say that? How do you say this play was designed when the other play looked like it was designed, but it wasn't? And I'll tell you right here. So right as we sit here, stop it right there. And right here, I give you two perfect examples of why it was. Here's example number 1, and here's example number 2. You have pulling blockers, and that's one thing that you see when you have a running offense or a run play, is right here you're seeing your tight end and your guard pull. You have 2 pullers, they're trying to take out those outside backers or even trying to go work downfield and find a block. And that's one thing you see, and as we let this play out, they do a great job of taking that defender because, you know, a tackle, they're working up. The other guards and centers, they're pushing in, and that tackle's pushing out. So that, you know, that linebacker comes in and goes, man, I have a wide open spaces to get a tackle here, and then he gets hit by that guard, and that really, you know, ding dong hello for Zachariah Owens. Like I said, 164 yards. I'll keep saying it because for a quarterback to come in and get 164 yards, 2 touchdowns, you know, at home, great atmosphere. You love to see it from Zachariah Owens. This kid has a very bright future, and I love how this offense has ran through him. You know, like I said, 2 quarterbacks. Chris Ruhnke can throw the ball. Zachariah Owens can run the ball. You're running, you know, an offense with a 2-headed dragon, and then you add Quincy Torrey, Dom Myers, Erwin Nash. You know, there's a list of names I could go on with it. But, you know, our next play is a defensive play here. In this one of some great sacks from the Bearcats. And this one, you know, everyone likes to say it, a pack of cats on the play, you know, or a litter of cats. You know, this one, a big play. Like I said, defense. Clayton Powell, Brandon Pigram, they get in. And one thing I want to note is their good defensive breakdown. They do a good job of pinning and ripping those offensive linemen. Because this play, if you dive a little bit deeper into it here, Olivia, stop it right here for me. If you dive a little bit deeper, they're trying to push them away. It looks like they're trying to create maybe a escape route for their quarterback. It looks like he goes, hey, if the play's broken, I can escape right through the middle. They're doing a very good job with their pass blocking. But this Bearcats defensive line, they're built to be tough. They're built to play with aggressiveness. They're built to play strong, power through, and try to find that quarterback and take him down. And ultimately, that's what you see here, is you see a pack of cats get a big Northwest sack. And this right here was a great job by the Northwest defense to allow only 3 points to Fort Hays State. And the Bearcats getting a big win, 52-3. But we got a lot of Bearcat sports coming up as it is homecoming week for the Bearcats. And we're going to send it to Jon Rinehart with Next Week in Bearcat Sports. Take it away, Jon.
It's homecoming week here in Maryville, and all Bearcat Athletics are looking to continue their success they had during Pink Week, with soccer, volleyball, and football all taking victories in their Pink Out games. For Bearcat Update, I'm Jon Rinehart, bringing you Next Week in Bearcat Sports, Homecoming Edition. Golf is once again getting us started early in the week, getting ready to take on their final event of the fall before taking a hiatus until spring. Bearcat Golf wrapped up a tournament in Warrensburg last week and were once again led by youth, with Lauren Briggs and Lexi Bartley finishing highest for the Bearcats in the top 20. When heading down to St. Joseph Country Club next week on Monday, they'll be facing a similar competition to Warrensburg, but looking to rebound on a course closer to home. Soccer will be on the road in Joplin, taking on the Missouri Southern Lions. Northwest Soccer is rolling not only this season, but moving up to number 21 in the D2 rankings, but also against the Lions, currently being on a 10-game win streak and being 21-10-1 all time. And that extension was aided last year by Jimena Arnau and McKenna West both scoring. The future is looking bright for the Lions, with sophomore Presley Whitmire scoring 4 goals along with 1 assist on the season, including scoring the only goal a strong Washburn team has allowed so far this year in conference play. Volleyball is kicking off their homecoming week at home on Friday, with Mo West making their trip up after taking down the Bearcats last week 3-0. Outside hitter Holly Helt was a big part in the Griffins' win last week, with the team leading 10 kills, adding to her total of 160 on the year. For the Bearcats to bounce back, they'll have to improve their hitting percentage greatly. On the season, they have a hitting percentage of 189, but against the Griffins, it dropped to 105. Men's and women's cross country is headed down to Pittsburgh, Kansas for hopefully the first of many MIAA championships this year for Northwest. For the women's team, they've had consistent top 10 finishes all season and are looking to continue that trend, as well as build off the 4th place finish from last year's MIAA championships. Senior Lydia McLaughlin and sophomore Olivia Baker could be the big keys to success next weekend in Kansas. And for the men's cross country team, they've been having a different kind of success this season, with their worst meet finish being 3rd place against not only Division II schools, but also some Division I. They're also looking to defend last year's MIAA championship, where now grad assistant Grant Bradley and now senior Drew Atkins both came top 4 individually. Along with Drew, Aziz Mohammed, who has been having a strong season in his own right, is looking to push the Bearcats past the finish line and bring another trophy back to Maryville. The main event of homecoming weekend, as well as the first Bearcat Update game of next week, will be Bearcat football taking on Nebraska-Kearney. Coming into today, Bearcat football continues to climb up the ranks and is currently number 19 in the country, and Nebraska-Kearney is going to be a tough test to defend home turf for homecoming, but the key for the Bearcats will be stopping the Loper stud running back Isaiah Harris. In pure numbers, he is on par with the Bearcats' top 3 backs, combined in rush yards, rushing touchdowns, and has fewer combined touches. Harris also leads the MIAA in rushing yards by well over 100 and is top 10 in the country in that same stat. Soccer will finish out homecoming weekend in Pittsburgh, taking on the Gorillas on Sunday. The Gorillas are a very young team historically, coming into their second ever season, and have continued a hot start as a club, already being 9-2-2 coming into the week and finishing 8-8-2 last year, including the Bearcats helping add to the win column last year with a 1-0 loss. Adding on to the youth and success trend, Ella Casavillan is a freshman for the Gorillas with 4 goals and 3 assists 13 games into her collegiate career, including a goal in the first 2 games of her career against a very strong University of Missouri St. Louis team and Missouri S&T, who are no pushover themselves. For Bearcat Update, I'm Jon Rinehart, and I'll see you next week in Bearcat Sports.
Thanks, John. We're going to take our final break of the show. If you like what you see, make sure to like, subscribe, and click that bell to be first to know when we post new content. When we come back, we'll take a look at how our teams are faring in the rankings, and our reporter Cayden Simpson will bring us a Bearcat Update exclusive interview. We'll be right back. Whoa, hey, didn't see you there. So you want to know how we run KNWT? Let me show you.
We strive to improve content week to week.
From weekly entertainment to award-winning documentaries.
We have a little something for everyone.
How do we show this creativity?
Creative Services.
Welcome back to Bearcat Update. Let's take a look at some national rankings. The Bearcats made 5 appearances in the most recent polls, with the men's cross-country team placing the highest at number 7. The women's cross-country team also made a repeat appearance in the top 25, dropping 2 spots to number 23. The football and soccer teams both continued to climb, with the guys on the gridiron jumping to number 19 prior to yesterday's win, and the ladies on the pitch moving up to number 21. Meanwhile, the golf team came in at number 66 nationally in the initial season rankings. Keep up the great work, Bearcats. So far this episode, we've talked a lot about Bearcat football's dominant rushing attack. However, the passing game also features some spectacular playmakers. One such playmaker is wide receiver Erwin Nash. After transferring in from Kansas State, Nash has been a standout performer on the outside, currently standing at second on the team in both catches with 18 and yards with 263. Recently, our reporter Cayden Simpson had the opportunity to talk with Nash about coming to Northwest and what his role on the team means to him in a Bearcat Update exclusive interview.
Good afternoon, Bearcats. Welcome to this week's Bearcat exclusive interview. Today I'm here with Erwin Nash, wide receiver for the Bearcat football team. And so first off, so we all are aware you came from K-State, right? You transferred this season. What brought you to Northwest specifically?
Really, a big deciding factor was when I came here, it felt very familiar. I had been up here for team camps in high school, but talking to Coach Mack and the staff, I felt at home. And I felt like it was a coaching staff that I would love to play for.
And how would you describe your play style and what you bring to the offense?
I'd say my play style is I'm just someone who, if you need a play, I can go make that play. I don't need to be, I don't have to be involved every week I want to be, but if we're winning, it doesn't matter. Like, I'll make the play, I'll block, go up, make a good catch. That's kind of what I do.
And in your transition over here, what teammate or coach helped you the most since arriving?
I'd say a teammate that helped me the most is one of my roommates, Jacob Stockard, and then before that, Bo Knobloch. I lived with both of them, and you know, when I first got here, there's a lot of things, a lot of different things. So like, I didn't know where to go to classes or like our schedule, and they kind of helped me out with that and all that. So it made me feel at home.
And what was one of the biggest differences between here and K-State, whether it's like the coaching staff or the way they prepare and like stuff like that? Like, what's one of the biggest differences?
I'd say just the schedule. Like, we kind of do, especially in season, our schedule is a lot different than K-State. We do stuff on Sundays, and then we really get after it on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. At K-State, we had Sundays off, and Monday was more for chill day. So for me, it was a little bit of an adjustment to come in here and bring the energy on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, all that.
And what goals do you have for this season? Obviously, this has been a very good season so far. 5 wins in a row. Very, very good win last week versus UCM. What are the goals throughout the rest of the year?
Big goal is just, as like for a team, is just proving everyone wrong. You know, we were preseason 6. You know, we don't believe that that's where we are or that's who we are, but you know, that's our reputation, and we're doing stuff to change that. Obviously, we want to be MIAA champs, national champs, but it doesn't come now. It's a week-to-week thing, and we have to work for that.
And what personal goals do you have for the season?
Personal goals? Honestly, I just want to be someone who can help the team out every time. I mean, I don't really have a number for yards or number for touchdowns. I just kind of go out there and do my thing, and the ball comes to me, got to make the catch.
That's cool, that's cool. And then just the last question. So this is a little bit of a fun one, but if you could catch a touchdown from any quarterback in the history of football, college, high school, NFL, whoever, who would it be?
You know, I'm a Packers fan growing up, so I'd probably say Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers?
He throws a nice ball, so.
All right, that's a good pick.
Yeah.
Thanks, Cayden. That's all the time we have for today. I'm your host, Hayden LaValle, and this has been Bearcat Update, the provider of complete coverage of Northwest sports. We're live every Sunday at 2, and you can find us on YouTube at KNWT TV. Along with Bearcat Update, you can watch KNWT's other content. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back in no time.